Okay, now we will be creating the code or writing the code to make this user interface function. Let us first have a look at what this user interface looks like on an actual Android device. So first we need to make sure our Bluestacks is running. Secondly, we need to make sure that our command prompt screen is open and it says connected to localhost 5554. And lastly, we need to make sure at the top it says Emirus CS. Once all of that is ready, we can go ahead and run the app. If you do not have Emirus CS over here and it says no device, what you need to do is you minimize Android Studio, you close the command prompt and you reopen that file. Once you have done that, you should see Emirus CS at the top over here. So let us run the app and it will now build this app on Android Studio. This will take a few minutes, so wait for the loading bar to finish loading and then we will carry on. Once we get to Gradle build finished, we know that it has successfully built our program and it is now busy launching it on the device, which in our case will be Bluestacks. Once you see launching on devices, you can go ahead and open Bluestacks and it will automatically open up your app. As we can see, our app displays fine. We can enter our name over here, enter our last name over here, and we can enter our age over here. However, it doesn't do anything. Let us now code up our app to work and display our information appropriately. So we close the app and we head back to Android Studio. First you make sure that the app is not running. If it is still running, you'll have a red square to stop the app. You press on that red square and now it should stop running and we can then carry on to the main activity and start our coding. Now the first thing I like doing is naming my brackets. These brackets are very important in Kotlin, and the three of these brackets will determine whether your program runs or not. If one of them are missing, you can see a red line appear over there, red lines appear over there, and your app will not run anymore. As you can see, the app has broken and will refuse to run. So we can close that and we re-add that bracket. Now our program shall run without any issues. Now to name these brackets, we look at the line where the opening bracket is. So here's the closing bracket, and you see over here, this bracket is highlighted. So we look over here and it says view compat. And what we do is we add a comment at the end of this bracket saying view compat. We add a comment by adding 2 forward slashes and then typing out afterwards. We look at this bracket, and this bracket is highlighted over here. Once we click on it, we follow it up to the front and we see that it is override fun on create. So we go down to the bottom bracket, we type out our 2 forward slashes, and we add our override fun on create over there. Our last bracket brings up our class main activity over here. Copy that and we add that to the last bracket. Now that we have named our brackets, we go up to the first bracket and we create 3 spaces. Below the view compat bracket, we will add a comment saying code starts here, and we go down to the last space above the override fun on create bracket and we add a comment saying code ends here. Lastly, we will go to the last bracket and create a new line underneath the class main activity and add a comment saying data classes go below here. Now we are ready to start coding up our program. So the first thing we will do is we will add our declarations. So we add a comment saying declarations and we add a space. A general rule of thumb is to start with your elements. In this case we have our title, our 3 labels, our 3 edit texts and our button. So to add an element, we create a value and we give this value a variable name. In this case we will add the title, so we can call it TV title, we can call it label title. What you call your variables is up to you. To keep it consistent, I'm going to call mine TV title, and we are going to assign the value. So when I say assign, I mean a single equal character. We're going to assign the value and we're going to find this element by using the command find view by ID. We are then going to add our crocodile brackets, which is the greater than or less than bracket. And in between these 2 brackets, we are going to specify what type of element we are looking for. In this case, we are looking for a text view. It will pop up over here and you can double click on it. If you do not double click on it, it will appear red like that and there will be a little pop-up saying import android.widget.textView with a question mark. To fix this error, you pull your mouse over onto the word without clicking, and then a pop-up will appear below it and you click on the import class text view. That will import the class into your imports and you will notice the red text has disappeared. After we specify what type of element we are looking for, we're going to add our round brackets and we are going to specify where to find this element. As I mentioned in previous videos, we will be looking in the resource folder because that is where our user interface file is. So we will say R for resource dot, and now we specify what we are looking for, and we are looking for an element ID, and the element ID we are looking for will be text view on the main screen called title. Remember, that is what we called our text view over here. If you scroll up to the top, there is the name of that text view. You do the same for all the other text views, but instead of calling them by the previous name TV main title, we will call them by their ID. In case of first name, it will be TV main first name. So let's do that quickly. And now we have added our 4 elements, or our 4 labels, text view labels. Now we can go ahead and add our edit text elements. So in order to do that, I'm just going to create a space here quickly, create a space there, and now we can add our edit text. So we'll have value edit text first name is equal to find view by ID. Remember, we are looking for an edit text now. So in the crocodile bracket, we go edit text. We can either double click on the name over there and it will import the class for us automatically. If we don't do that, the text will be red and we will need to hover over the text to click on the blue link below it like we did for the text view. And now we need to specify where we're looking for the element, which is in the resource folder. We are looking for an element ID and we are looking for the edit text main first name. And now let's do that for the rest of the edit text. So we can just copy and paste, and this one will be last name and this one will be age. Remember that we are looking for last name over there and this one will be age. Now age was not a text edit text, it was a number. Again, these purple names you see here will be different if you are naming your elements differently as to what I did. So in case of age, we can see there it says edt num main age. Lastly, we will add our button. So we'll have value btn save info find view by ID. In the crocodile brackets we have button. If you don't click on the button below it, the text will be red. You hover over button and you click on class import button. We will now add our round bracket. We are looking in the resource folder. We're looking for an element ID and we are looking for btn main save. Now we have added all our elements. Lastly, we need to add variables to save the inputs into, and we will do that by creating a variable. Value is a constant that you cannot change the value of. A variable is something that you can change the value of. So we'll be creating 3 variables, one for first name, so in this case it will be first name. We also have to specify that it is a string, so we'll be adding a colon and with a capital S, string. We can now create the same for the last name, and we can create a variable for age. Note how age will be a number, which in this case is an integer. And now we have created all the elements and variables we need to run this program. Lastly, we need to create a method for this button to execute code. So let us add some more comments saying creating our elements, and this will be our labels. This will be our edit texts. This is our button. Here is our variables. Now we can go ahead and add our functions, methods, and on click listeners. So in order to add a button, we need to call the button by its variable name, and we need to attach a function to it called an on-click listener. So we'll set on-click listener. We add our round brackets because it is a function, and we hit enter and open up our curly brackets for the code. In here, we will be taking the information from the edit texts, and we will be storing it into the variables. So we do that by calling the variable and assigning the value of the edit text. So in this case, we start with first name. We are looking at the text. We are converting it to string, and we are now reading from the edit text and storing it into first name. We do the same for last name by going last name, edit text, last name. We're looking at the text and we are converting it to a string. Lastly, we are reading a number into age, so we'll go age is equal to edit text edit text age. We're looking at the text age contains, and we are going to convert it to a string first, and then we are going to convert it to an int. You cannot convert it straight to an integer like I just tried over here. You need to convert it to a string first and then to int. After we do that, we can now display a simple message to the user. We can do that in one of two ways. So let us add a comment saying inputting information from edit text to variables, and over here we will be outputting information from variables to pop up message. And we do that by using what is called a toast pop-up. So you type out toast and you double click on the blue toast. We will be using toast dot make text, and we can type out make text and we add a round bracket. Let me just double check. Okay, now with toast messages we can write them out in one line, or we can write them out over several lines. It is just easier to write it out in one line in my opinion, and we will be specifying which screen to post this message on, which is this screen. And this means the main screen activity over here. Secondly, we will add what needs to be displayed in the toast message. So in this case, we will have a message greeting the user, and this message will be hello. And to use a variable inside of a string, we just add the $, and then we type out the variable name. So in this case it will be hello first name, and let's add a exclamation mark at the end. And then lastly, what we need to add is the duration of the toast message, and this we do by adding toast length long. So toast in lower letters, length long. And lastly, we need to specify to show this message. And now if you run your app, we will have our basic app showing off our basic instruction. Remember that while it says building or launching, it is busy thinking. You don't have to do anything, you are simply just waiting on Bluestacks for the app to run. And here we now can add our information into all the fields, and once you press save info, a message appears at the bottom. Now we can stop our app using the red square over there, and let us add some more personalization to this message. So we'll have hello first name. Let's change that to hello dear last name. You are, and now we can add age, years old, comma, first name. This message can be whatever you would like to tell the user. It does not have to be the same as mine. and it can contain whatever information you would like. So let us save and rerun, and we will see the new message appear. Okay, so we can add a name, surname, an age, and once we click on the message, hello dear Stevenson, you are 55 years old, John. And this is how we create a basic Android application in Android Studio.